Hello and welcome to today's Office Hours presentation. This is your host, Paul Hoyt. Our Office Hours presentation is a relaxed, informal mentoring program that we do every Monday at noon Pacific time. All these recordings, slides, and exercises are archived in the members area of our website, and all these recordings are now available on the YouTube channel at youtube.com/user/Paul Hoyt. The reasons we do these is because we know that being a successful business owner can be a great experience, but we also know that it's tough. You need education, training, tools, and team to be successful. And we want you to get to know us, because when you get to know us, you'll know that first and most importantly, we care about you. We want you to be successful in every area of your life, whatever that means to you. We want you to find the greatness, the happiness, the divinity within yourself, and then remember it, embrace it, and live it every single day as we try to do. Our passion is to increase the survival rate, accelerate the growth rate, and reduce the struggle rate of businesses in America. And our vision is to help millions of CEOs and entrepreneurs accelerate their business growth and enjoy greater harmony and balance in their lives. If you find these office hours presentations to be beneficial to you in any way, please pass the word along. Please pass the word to business owners that you meet, to people that you're talking to who may want to start a business, and let them know that they've got a friend and an extremely valuable resource here at paulhoyt.com for them to get a massive amount of training and education just for signing up for the list. Our office hours agenda is usually an in-depth discussion of a business success principle, and then closing remarks and special offers and an invitation for next week's session. And then we go into Q&A. So as we're talking about the material today, if you think of anything that you'd like for us to discuss, any questions that you'd like to ask, please jot them down. You can send them to us in the chat log of the GoToWebinar control panel. Just go ahead and type them in there whenever you like, and then at the end of the broadcast, Stephanie May, who's on the call with us today as my partner in crime here at Hoyt Management Group, will read those questions off to us, and we'll even maybe have a dialogue and take you off mute and give you an opportunity to address the people who are on the call as well. We invite you to join us with the Awakened CEO communities on both LinkedIn and Facebook, where I publish the business success principle of the day every day. And then every morning, I get up and try to say something insightful or inspirational and make an energy of the day posting on Facebook. I think we're up to like 893 or something like that days in a row. Today, we're going to talk about one of my very favorite subjects, which is the art of conscious business leadership, with the big question is, hey, you as a business owner, are you awake? Do you see the opportunity and the responsibility that you have to run a conscious business for your particular business? We always try to relate the subject matter of the day to one or more of the key performance areas of business, and today it's really all about leadership. Again, it's about your responsibility and the opportunity you have as a leader to run the best business that you possibly can, to run the most successful business that you possibly can, one that nurtures you, the people that you work with, and your entire community. And that's what conscious business leadership is all about. We also relate the subject matter of the day to one or more of the levels of performance that we have with the Awakened CEO system. In the Awakened CEO system, we talk about how important it is for you to have a really great mindset, which is your beliefs and your perspectives, to really have well-defined methods, which is your plans and your procedures and your processes, and then to get into action and increase the momentum at your business. The mantra of mindset, methods, and momentum is the mantra of the Awakened CEO system. And today we're going to talk about all three of them, about really focusing your perspective and your attitude on running a conscious business, about some things that you can do today in order to have a more conscious, more successful business, and encouragement for you to get into momentum and accelerate the growth of your business. Today we're going to talk about, first of all, this subject of consciousness and what it means to be personally conscious and to have a conscious business. We'll talk about a book that has been really great called Great from the Start, that I think is a really good starting point for your understanding of the value of having a conscious business. We'll talk about conscious capitalism principles, the triple bottom line, why conscious business leadership works and when it doesn't work, and then sum it all up to the bottom line. On consciousness, first of all, I've been a student of wisdom and higher consciousness and enlightenment and awakening and those kinds of topics for 50 years. I started a long, long time ago when I was 14 years old. And I have to say, it's been one of the most humbling and most wonderful journeys of my entire lifetime. And it's for that reason I'm really passionate about personal and spiritual growth. And I'm as passionate about that as I am about being a business consultant. And the reason is because it's been as valuable to me as anything that I've ever learned in business. But the journey, the personal journey of consciousness and awakening is not quite what we're going to talk about today. Today we're going to talk about conscious businesses. With conscious businesses, we're not really talking about conscious people who are awakened and aware and they act out of love, who see the interconnectedness of all people and all things. We're going to be talking about conscious businesses and conscious leaders who are awakened and aware of their entire ecosystems, and again, how their business is interconnected to all things and how it fits into the grand scheme of things. And they also, like conscious people who act out of love and wisdom, I believe that conscious business leaders also act out of great wisdom and who knows, maybe a little love and compassion and joyfulness along the way. I read a really great book a couple of years ago called Great from the Start, with the subtitle of How Conscious Corporations Attract Success. Really a great book, written above, by all things, John Montgomery, who is an attorney. He's the founder of Montgomery & Hanson, LLP, a Silicon Valley-based corporate law firm who focuses on corporate law and securities law and all kinds of different law. They've got a really nice firm there, and one of my favorite attorneys, a lady named Kathy Gahn, is one of the partners at Montgomery & Hanson, which is how I became aware of it. John Montgomery is also the founder of StartWorks, which is a tech incubator, and in his biography, he describes himself as being a student of non-dual philosophical systems, neuroscience, developmental theory, and organizational development. Quite an eclectic type of guy, and it's somebody I really appreciate for who he is, for the firm that he has created, and for the book that he wrote on Great from the Start. And the principle of Great from the Start is it's a book about success. It's a book about the successes that he has seen in Silicon Valley. And he starts in a most interesting place. He says that, you know, the number one thing that you can do as a business owner to really focus on your success and to give yourself a better chance of success is not to have a great product or to be focused on the money, but rather to be focused on the vision, to be focused on your values, and to be focused on the culture that you want to create at your business. Then we want to focus on the business model, the mentors and the teams that you put in place. Make sure that you're engaging with your board of directors, and that's your advisory board as well. Make sure that you know how to work with investors and VCs and understand and appreciate them, understand where they're coming from, understanding how they win in the entire venture, seeing them as an important part of your ecosystem as well, just as much as your clients are and the employees and the contractors with whom you work. And of course, as an attorney, he wants you to create a strong legal foundation. Focus on multiple intelligences. You know, there are multiple intelligences out there. There's this cognitive intelligence, but there's also emotional intelligence and relationship intelligence and other ways that we can work together in order to build a strong business as a very strong team. And he does focus a lot on cultivating consciousness, because his belief is, like my belief is, the more conscious that you are, the more awakened and aware that you really are, the more successful that you will be in business, because you will attract that success to you. You will attract people who want to support you and who want to work with you and who want you to be successful. And you'll have a much broader team. But more on that in just a little bit. There is a great organization out there called consciouscapitalism.org that defines the principles of conscious capitalism, which are very, very closely related to the principles that I would say with conscious business leadership. And that's why we're going to focus a little bit of time now talking about the 4 principles of conscious capitalism. In conscious capitalism, they specify that corporations exist to maximize the profits and provide a positive material impact on society and the environment, instead of existing solely just to maximize profits for the shareholders. In a conscious in a business that absorbs or embraces the conscious capitalism principles, they see the corporation as a part of a complex ecosystem of multiple stakeholders. And notice that we didn't talk about shareholders there. We talked about stakeholders. Shareholders are, by definition, the people who have an ownership position in your business. But your stakeholder community is much broader than that. Your stakeholders are your clients who purchase your products and services and use them. Your stakeholders include your employees and your contractors who provide valuable services to your firm that allow you to provide the products and services to your clients. Your stakeholders are the entire industry. Your stakeholders are anybody who really comes into contact with your company in any way and is affected by the company that you have created. And with conscious capitalism principles, the leaders then are passionately committed to personal and professional growth, which I really love as well. Here are the four fundamental pillars, the four principles of conscious capitalism. And that is to have a higher purpose, to really support your stakeholders and understand who all these are, to focus on your responsibility and opportunity to be a great leader, and to focus on your responsibility and your opportunity to build a great culture. We're going to talk about each one of those individually for a second. First of all, the fundamental principle of the conscious capitalism four pillars are to have that higher purpose, to recognize that every business has a purpose that includes but is more than making money. And by focusing on the higher purpose, a business inspires, engages, and energizes its stakeholders. And by the way, these words that I am reading are right from the consciouscapitalism.org website. The conscious business, they say, is also focused on the stakeholders by recognizing that the interdependent nature of life and the human foundations of business, a business needs to create value with and for its various stakeholders, its customers, its employees, its vendors, its investors, its communities, etc. And like the life forms in an ecosystem, healthy stakeholders lead to a healthy business system. Now what this means, by the way, is that we want our employees to be paid fairly. We want them to have the opportunity to take care of their personal financial needs. We want them to have the opportunity to pursue a great career and grow themselves over time. We want our vendors and suppliers to make money. We want them to run their businesses at a profit because we care about the people that work for them in the same way we care about people who work for us. And we want them to be around so they can be a trusted and valuable supplier a year from now, in addition to being a trusted and valuable supplier today. We want our investors to make money on their money that they have shared with us, that they have invested in our company. We want the entire ecosystem to thrive because when the ecosystem thrives is when our company thrives the most as well. It's not a competitive environment. It is a cooperative and collaborative mindset by which we work together to help each other win with each other's help and support. So that's what I mean by a stakeholder orientation and what they mean by it. With the conscious capitalism principles, we also focus on conscious leadership. Human social organizations are created and guided by leaders, people who see a path and inspire others to travel along that path. Conscious leaders understand and embrace the higher purpose of business and focus on creating the value for and harmonizing the interests of the business stakeholders. They recognize the integral role of culture and purposefully cultivate a conscious culture. Which brings us to our fourth principle, which is the conscious culture itself. What does that mean? This is the ethos, the values, the principles, and the practices underlying the social fabric of a business, which permeates the atmosphere of the business and connects the stakeholders to each other and the purpose, people, and processes that comprise the company. We've done a few presentations on building your company culture that you may want to take a look at because it is entirely important. It's incredibly important to your business for you to create a company culture that really resonates with you, that causes you to be able to step into your passion and your joy more often and really inspires the people that work with you and for you at your business. Another way of looking at this earlier in our society was the triple bottom line. The triple bottom line was a United Nations sponsored accounting framework. They came out in 1987 and said that we want an accounting framework to see how companies are delivering back to society and the world at whole around 3 different areas. And those were social, environmental, and financial. The term of the triple bottom line was coined by John Elkington in 1997, and it became known as people, planet, and profits. The people being the social, the environmental being the planet, and the financial being the profits. So you're going to hear people talk about the triple bottom line a lot, about how modern companies, responsible companies, are focused not just on making as much money as they possibly can, but doing it in a way that supports their entire ecosystem, doing it in a way that supports the people, and doing it in a way that supports the planet. And that means, we're not dumping crap into the rivers and lakes, and we're not, taking energy and wasting natural resources in the way that some businesses do. Lately, I've seen this merge into what I consider to be the next level of conscious business leadership, which is the quadruple bottom line. So this is also expressed as people, planet, and profits, but also presence, which means that with the quadruple bottom line, we want to not only facilitate the people, the planet, and the profits, but we also want to facilitate a presence, a knowingness, a consciousness, an awakening, an awareness with the leaders of the company and with the people who work with the company. Those of you who listen to any of my sessions know that I am passionate about the value of personal and spiritual growth because of the value that it's brought me over a long time. More than anything, it's the work that I've done on myself, and the focus every day on becoming the person that I wanted to be that has brought me the most joy and health in my life. There's great power in focusing on personal growth and those who have made great progress on their journey are almost universally better team players, more ethical, of higher integrity, and they're healthier and have more energy. And you got to ask yourself, is this the person that I want to be? And I think for most of you who are listening, the answer is yes, this is the person I want to be. I want to be a better team player. I want to be a person of higher integrity and be known for that. I want to be healthier and have more energy in my life. And we want to surround ourselves with people who are the same way, not people who have toxic energy, who are, perpetually grumpy and, and can't be trusted. And Lord knows that there are people out there like that. And unfortunately, I've had the experience of running into a fair share of those people who I hold space for them, and I think in my heart that they really want to be a good person, but the bottom line is that oftentimes they are not. They act out of very low integrity. They can't be trusted. And those people are really tough to be around, and certainly I don't recommend that you deal with them at all. But there are people, by the way, who are on their journey, who are focused on personal and spiritual growth, and they make mistakes, and they have times in the shadow energy. And those are the people that we love and care about and want to nurture on their journey. So, I have this general rule that says, as long as you're humble and working on yourself, you're okay with me. As long as you're, doing the very best you can every single day to be the best person that you can be and to support other people on their journey, then it really doesn't make any difference where you are in your journey. I'm there to support you. Conscious businesses they're just not the same as unconscious businesses. And here's a really good way of comparing them. Normal businesses, it's just business as usual. But with a conscious business, when you are a conscious business leader, you see your business as a force for good in the world. You're making a difference in the lives of the people who work for you and with you, making a difference in the lives of your customers and your clients by helping them achieve what they want to achieve and helping them live life in the way that they want to live life. A normal business may just see a highly competitive environment, but a conscious business is focused on cooperation. A normal business might be manipulative, but a conscious business operates with high integrity. A regular business might operate in secret and see the world as being, full of people who are out to get them. But conscious businesses act with transparency. We share where we are and what we're up to and what's working and what isn't working. Bad businesses, unconscious businesses may believe in profit at any cost, whether it become abuse or, breaking the law or doing things that are not of high integrity, falling or disavowing any sort of agreements, that sort of thing. But with the conscious business, we only believe with profit, with principles, and we believe that when we really focus on our principles, that the profits will in fact be there. Unconscious businesses have a short-term perspective. Conscious businesses have visionary leadership, oftentimes going out for generations, as seeing this business that we're creating as a business that's here to support, the next generations of our families, but also the next generations of our clients and customers and our employees and contractors who work with us. We take a multiple generational attitude and perspective towards the business that we have. And unconscious businesses may have limited thinking, while conscious businesses have a real global perspective. And I want to give credit to the enlightenedbusinesssummit.com, which is where this comparison table came from. I encourage you to take a look at them and the programs that they have. Bottom line is, here's why this works, is because your passion and your power are really enhanced with a sense of purpose. When you act out of fear, as opposed to acting out of value and acting out of purpose, your passion can only go so far. It's a really inexhaustible resource. It comes with a fair amount of stress to it when you're acting out of fear, whereby when you act out of a purpose, there is an unlimited amount of power that's available to you. Your purpose becomes the source of your passion, becomes the source of your power, which can become the source of your profits. If you leave out this first step, where you're really not focused on the why and you really don't care about anybody else and you're acting out of fear, your passion will be limited by the stress that you're feeling in your life. You can only go so far whenever you're leading a very highly stressed life before the stress gets to you in some way. It can get to you in terms of bad health for yourself, but most often it gets to you because you're attracting the ill will of other people. They're sensing the stress. They don't trust you. Then they may even want to sabotage your efforts because you have in some way made them feel unsafe and in some way have offended them because you are not a person of high integrity and because you're not a person of great positive energy. It works because relationships are the cornerstone to any company's success. You can get by on your brains for a while, but pretty soon, when you start interacting with other people in the context of a project team, or when you step into the role of a leader at all, you realize that it's not your brains that will make you successful, it's their brains that make the company successful. You see your success not in the efforts that you can have, and you see your self-image as not being valuable in the work that you do yourself, but you seek to achieve success through the efforts of others and through the goodwill of others. And you realize how important relationships are because people know whether or not you care about them. And you can get incredible amount of loyalty and even concessions when you have great relationships. And the last reason why it's important for you to focus on the conscious business leadership is karma. I really do believe that what goes around comes around. You can attribute this to mystical, magical forces if you like, or you can just attribute it to when you piss somebody off, they're going to get back at you in some way. When you make somebody feel unsafe, they'll get back at you. When you demean somebody or put somebody down, or criticize them or abuse them in any way whatsoever, they'll find a way to get back at you. They can find that way through sabotage, through just saying, I worked with this guy, Joe, and, he just, you got to watch out for him. I just don't trust him. So you don't want to be that person. You want to attract the favorable attention of other people, and we do that by being as conscious leaders as we possibly can. Now, can you do this too much is a question I get asked a lot. I just want to be a very, very good person, but I'm having struggles with my business. Why is that? Why come all this goodness is not coming back to me, Paul, in the way that you say that it should and could, because I know that I'm a good person? Well, there are ways that you can focus on being a good person that does not support your business itself. It doesn't work when your fundamental business model it doesn't work, and you've got performance issues. In other words, you're not doing the things that you need to do in order to be successful in business. You can't just sit on the couch and be a good guy. You have to actually do the things that are necessary in order to support the growth of your business, as well as being a force of positive energy in the world. Sometimes people just forget about the profits, and they think that good intentions are enough, and they have difficulty setting boundaries about saying no to other people, and they really don't learn what they need to learn in order to do the things that they need to do. And sometimes, in the worst cases, they just provide lip service. You know, they stand up and say, oh yeah, we believe in integrity, and yeah, we believe in honor and respect, but you know, I think we can cheat these people a little bit, or I think that we really don't have to pay that bill, or you know, I think we can manipulate this customer here a little bit into doing business with us in a way that maybe is not in their best interest. They don't oftentimes actually come out and say those things, but unfortunately, when they're just paying lip service to the principles of conscious business leadership, they are doing those things, and they are attracting the ill will and the negative energy of the people that they surround themselves with. So you see businesses that have a progression. The worst kind of businesses are selfish and they're ruthlessly competitive. When they raise it up just a little bit, they may be a fair and professional business. When they raise it up a lot, they may be a conscious business. And I believe that there's something even higher than that, and that is an enlightened business run by an awakened CEO. An awakened CEO, looks at their business as a reflection of their soul. They look at problems and challenges as lessons and opportunities for them to grow personally and spiritually. And they apply their spiritual principles and their core values to every business issue or opportunity that they have. And they're really primarily focused on human potential and personal growth. And in my particular case, we see the business as the opportunity for us to continue working on ourselves. We see the business as an opportunity to be a force for good in this world. We see the business as an opportunity to help other people define and achieve their goals and objectives, and to do what we can to support other people. That's what being an awakened CEO, that's what being a conscious leader is all about to me. The good news is that you can implement these concepts and principles right now in your business. All you have to do is define your core values, to find your purpose if you haven't already found it, so that you can start with the why, to go through every area of your business, what I call the KPAs or the key performance areas, one by one, and do a value audit, saying, are we really leading this business in a way that's consistent with our core values and principles? Or do we really have financial policies in place that are consistent with our core values and principles? Do we sell in a way that is consistent with our core values and principles? Are we developing products? Are we treating our customers? Are we managing our operations? Are we doing everything at our business, in every department of our business, in a way that's consistent with our core values and principles? And we define those practices that are consistent with those that are conscious or enlightened, and we communicate them as much as possible. And the most important thing is that we walk the talk. Every single day, as much as possible, we become that force for positive energy. We become that force for good in the world, that we become the leader of a conscious business. We become an awakened CEO and a conscious business leader ourselves. Here's the bottom line. The bottom line is conscious business leadership is an emerging movement. I love the fact that we're having more and more conversations about this, more and more conversations about people who are business owners recognizing the opportunity they have and the responsibility they have to be a conscious business leader, to run a business of high integrity, great authenticity, and great service to the people that they serve and work with. And I believe that you may find great benefit for your business in understanding and implementing these principles too. Some of those benefits include better productivity from yourself and from everybody, because they're no longer driving with the brakes on. When you reduce the stress at your business, you really tap into a greater level of power at your business. You're going to have better teamwork and culture. That means improved loyalty, and it means better relationships from top to bottom in everything that you do at your business. So let me encourage you in the in the strongest possible way that you understand the opportunity you have as an awakened CEO, as a conscious business leader, to be a force for good in the lives of your employees, your contractors, your investors, your clients, your customers, your communities, and the world at large. Today we talked about what it meant to be conscious and a conscious business leader. We talked about the book, Great from the Start, by John Montgomery. We talked about conscious capitalism principles and the triple bottom line, and we talked a little bit about how you can work this, how you can get this to be implemented at your business, and when it doesn't work. And we summed it all up to the bottom line. So here's what I want you to do. Really consider becoming a conscious business. Consider taking that next steps for yourself. If you want to see a really great book on the subject, then I encourage you to get the book Great from the Start by John Montgomery. And there are limited copies available, free copies. So if you want to get a free copy of the book, please send me an email and I can make that happen. We can arrange that for you. And if you need support on starting and growing your business, if you need support on becoming a conscious business or a more effective conscious business leader, get support on your team. We're happy to throw our hat into the ring for that as well. But get yourself a mentor, get yourself coaching, get somebody in there that can encourage you, inspire you, and help you make it happen for yourself. We've had lots of office hours presentations on related subjects. The very first office hour presentation that we did 2.5 years ago was on taking complete responsibility at your business. Then we talked about the future of business with office hours number 42, claiming your own truth, office hours 53, the power of why, which was a great one at 81, and emotional intelligence just last summer, office hours 91. If you want to continue your conversation about being a conscious business leader, I encourage you to listen to one or more of these related office hours presentations. We're going to have open Q&A and coaching here in just a minute. First of all, we're going to take comments and questions on the subject matter of the day, then anything else that you want to talk about. We'd love to hear what your biggest takeaways are and the ahas that you got, the insights that you got from today's presentation, and let us know what you're going to focus on. Here at the Hoyt Management Group, we have a wide variety of support services to teach you the things that you need to learn to actually do it with you, to advise you, to do consulting engagements with you, to help you create your business plan, your financial model, your strategic plan, your sales scripts, your product funnels, etc. And then in some cases, we actually do it for you. You can throw things over the wall to us and rest assured that we'll do a high quality job and get it back to you just as soon as possible. Our next office hours is on May the 9th. I'm not sure what we're going to talk about, but I have a decent idea. But I'd really like to hear what topics that you'd like for me to address at paulsurvey.com. And in between now and the time that we speak again, do your homework. And with that, we're going to open it up to questions and answers, any comments that you might have, and any discussion topics that you would like to entertain. Stephanie, any comments, any questions?
Yeah, let's see. I'm getting these last ones in here. All right, here's first one. How do I become more conscious when I am struggling so much just to survive? Been there.
Yeah, haven't we all been there? Because so when we're struggling to survive, it's almost by definition a very tense time for us. I mean, we're triggering a lot of fears. The fear about, the approval of others, the fear about our own financial safety, the fear about, what will people think of me? What will my family think of me? What will I think about myself? We see a lot of things that are in jeopardy when our businesses are struggling. But I do kind of see it as a chicken and the egg kind of a thing. Which comes first? Do we step into a positive energy before we see the success that we want, or do we have the success that we want and that triggers the positive energy in our life? And I think it's kind of a iterative process, is that we choose right now, this second, to step into a more positive energy, to have a greater belief in ourselves, to believe in the positive outcome, to believe that this next phone call, this next conversation is going to result in a win-win relationship and a lot of goodwill in between the parties before we pick up the phone and have that sales call, before we have the conversation with an existing customer or existing contractor, before we talk to somebody about the opportunity they have to invest with our business, is that we, first of all, we step into a little more positive energy before we do that. And then it becomes a little bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy, that we say, you know, I really believe that this conversation is going to be a great conversation. I don't know how it's going to turn out. I don't know how I want it to turn out. But I know that my vision for it, first and most of all, is that it's a positive conversation, that we have an enjoyable conversation, that we communicate well with each other, that if we have any issues, that we reach resolution with each other, and step into that positive energy. And then you'll start to attract more success for you. And then that success that you have will breed more and more success and more positive energy. But you can't wait for the success to first come from the outside world before I decide to have a positive attitude. You have to take responsibility for your mindset. It's the first and the most important of the levels of performance in the Awakened CEO system. You take responsibility for your mindset first and say that I'm going to let go of my stress. I'm going to believe in myself. I'm going to believe in my company and the value that we bring to other people. And then we engage with the marketplace. And then we can learn to expect and anticipate the success and the goodwill that comes back to us as a reflection of who we are and a reflection of the energy that we give to other people. So, you know, you have my compassion. I know what it's like to struggle in business. I know what it's like to be frightened. I know what it's like to, you know, to say, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do next. I got some really good advice from some mentors and coaches that I had a few years ago, and even, you know, just a few months ago, that says simply this: if you're not getting the type of results that you want, focus all of your time and attention, or most of your time and attention, on revenue generating activities, on cash generating activities. If you're not picking up the phone and calling your prospects and clients, then do that. You know, put aside the pen and the paper, and put aside the bookkeeping, put aside the product development, put aside everything else, and focus 60 to 80% of your time on revenue generating activities so that you can have the success that you want, that will enable you to continue doing the things that perhaps you would really rather do. But take care of the knitting first, and then you have the ability to go do other things. And hopefully that's important to you. I think the most important part of that response was your responsibility and the opportunity you have to first shift your mindset and then engage with the marketplace and engage with other people, and then you will attract greater success to yourself. Hopefully that was helpful. Stephanie, any comments or questions on that?
Yeah. Yes. Comment. I'm incredibly blessed to have many longtime friends that definitely fit the conscious, successful business ideal, but I continue to find myself in business with partners who mix with me, creating an unhealthy situation. Why the difference?
You know, I really don't know, because I see that the same in my life. You know, I've certainly cut down on the number of people who are in some way attracted to work with me, but they turn out to be people of you know, who really don't have their act together, and they're people of low integrity. Every once in a while I have somebody like that. You know, in my particular case, it's somebody that simply refuses to pay their bills, or somebody that, you know, who otherwise doesn't act in integrity. So I think those people in our life, what I choose to believe about that is it's still the law of lessons. You know, if you look that up on the internet, you'll see that it's one of my 65 principles in my online book of wisdom called The Levels of Creation. And the law of lessons simply says that things don't happen to us, things happen for us. And when they happen for us, they're either there to teach us a lesson, or they're there to give us the opportunity to share a little positive energy into the lives of other people. So if we ask ourselves those two questions, you know, what can I learn from this situation? You know, what is this teaching me about what I value the most? What does this teach me about the energy that I'm putting out to the world? That's a really good first question. And the second question is, you know, what can I do to bless this person? What can I do to support them? What can I do to encourage them, to inspire them to step into a little higher consciousness themselves, to be a person of higher integrity and higher authenticity, etc. So if you ask yourself those two questions, then that otherwise uncomfortable, unpositive environment, situation that you've got yourself into becomes a tremendous opportunity for you to raise your own consciousness, to raise your own positive attitude by saying, what can I learn from this? What is the universe trying to teach me? And what can I do to support this other person, to help them and support them on your journey? You have flipped that situation from one of, why is this crap happening to me, to one of, I have a lot of positive energy that I can put out into the world right now in this particular situation, and I'm going to do it. I think that's would be a tremendously conscious and wonderful approach to dealing with the crap that sometimes comes our way in business. Hopefully that was helpful. Stephanie, next comment or question, please.
I just have a comment. I find sometimes when I find myself in situations like that, I have to take a step back and ask myself, what's the lesson I'm not getting here? Why am I in this enabling kind of situation?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I find that it's more me than being in those situations, unfortunately.
Stephanie, I noticed that one of our attendees has had a hand up for a while, and I don't know if he still has that question or not, but Jorge, I took you off mute. If you are there, did you have a question or a comment for us today? Whoops. Well, I took him off mute, but I don't hear from him. Please type into the chat log if you're there. I'm going to put you back on mute for a little bit and invite Stephanie to offer a comment or to ask another question.
Okay, another question.
Okay.
What do I do when I see that a member of my team is not acting in a way that is consistent with our core values or the culture I want to create?
Well, the first thing you do is to make sure that you address the issue, and you simply come out and tell them what the facts is and what the values are and remind them of the principles. We did an office hours 2 or 3 times ago on structured conversations where we gave several different approaches to having those conversations with other people. But you, as the leader of your company, you have to take 100% responsibility for everything at your company. As a conscious business leader at your company, then we want to do it with as much positive energy and consciousness and wisdom as we possibly can. But the bottom line is, you just have to address the issue. In the office hours on structured conversations a few weeks ago, we talked about several different ways of doing that. The UCD system, the UCR system, the compassionate communications protocol, the awakened conversation, awakened CEO communication process. There was another one that was called it used to be called the 1 minute manager's management sandwich, but I think it was the complimentary sandwich or something like that. So there's a lot of different ways to have that conversation. Find the one that works the best for you, the one that you're most comfortable with, and then suck it up and have the conversation with them and let them know that they're acting in a way that's not consistent with the core values in the company, and invite them to step back into higher integrity, invite them to shift their energy. And if it's as appropriate, let them know about what the consequences could be if they're not able to shift their energy. Usually not on the first time. Usually the first time it's just, we make person aware that, hey, we noticed that, hey, in this particular case, you simply weren't acting in a way that was consistent with our values and principles. And if it happens 2 or 3 times in a row, then you have to remind them of the consequences that they might face should they continue to act in a way that's inconsistent with company core values and principles. Next comment and question.
Okay. Do you have any books or cassettes or videos that you can suggest?
The book, Great from the Start by John Montgomery, is a very good start. You're going to find resources on consciouscapitalism.org and Enlightened Businesses. I can't remember the name of the URL, but it's in the slide deck that you're going to find. Personally, I haven't written a book on conscious business yet. I either write books on business, and I've written a few of them, and I also write inspirational books. My CD I published 10 years ago called Remember, and then The Practice of Awakening and The Practice of Awakening 2 are books that I have written. And then lately online, the online book right now called The Levels of Creation, which is available online is another one of those books. My intention is, by the way, to write a book on the awakened CEO, and I've got a lot of rich material for that book right now today. But I don't know that I off the top of my head, other than the book Great from the Start by John Montgomery, I can't think of a book that I would recommend off the top of my head. But I tell you, if you go online and look at consciouscapitalism.org, if you just search for the term conscious business leadership, you'll find what I have found, which is a wealth of online resources available to you and a lot of encouragement, a lot of tools that you can use to help implement those principles at your business. And as always, we're eager to support you in any way that we can to help you do that value assessment, that value audit in each area of your business, to help you define what your core values are, to have facilitated discussions with you and your teammates to help define those core values and those core principles so that you and your entire team can get on the same page and be like-minded and have that bonding opportunity where you realize what your purpose is and you share a common purpose and you can be focused on that so you can turn that purpose into passion, into power, into profits. Hopefully that was helpful. Stephanie, next question.
You know what that kind of means? The fact that there's not books or cassettes or videos, all that kind of the online resources. All this means is that we are at such a really cool place and that we get to create what we want, don't you think?
I love that. That's well said. We find a lot of people talking about, how do you step into your personal power, because most people, they're looking for a little more warrior energy in their life. So most motivational speakers and even inspirational speakers talk about the opportunity we have to be stronger people, to get off the couch and do your thing, to realize that you're not trapped, etc. My approach is a little higher than that, a little higher consciousness than that, is to realize the opportunity you have to be a force for good in the world, and hopefully resonate with people at that level. Yeah, I do think there's an opportunity to create training programs around how people become an awakened CEO and the power of that and the purpose of that and the tremendous value of that as well. So we'll continue to focus on those in the next few months and years. Thanks for that comment, Stephanie.
Next question. I have people on my team who are super nice, but they just aren't getting the job done. What can I do about them?
That comes back into the comments we made about, what happens when this doesn't work. How can I just focus on being a good person and run a great business? And the answer is no, you can't really, because you do have to sell and you do have to deliver and you do have to create great products and you do need to track the money and you do need, to have great service. All of those things are required for you to have a successful business. When you find a teammate that, is a wonderful person, but they're just not getting the job done, again, you need to have a conversation with them in the same regards that we talked about earlier. You need to have that conversation with them because they're not pulling the weight of the team. Your responsibility as the CEO of your team is to make sure that the team is operating at its highest levels. If you are a basketball coach and you're in the playoffs, and somebody is not making their shots and somebody is committing too many fouls, you take them off the court. You put them on the bench either for the rest of the game or at least for a while to allow them to shift their energy in some way before you put them back into the game. In business, we just can't, take somebody off and put them to the sideline for a while unless they're a contractor. You can do that with contractors. You can say that, we're going to disengage for a while and maybe we'll come back in a few months and give you another shot. But for right now, we're going to, take you off the court for a while. We certainly can't do that with employees. You can't hire employees and then let them go, with any sort of, regularity like you can cycle people on and off of a basketball court. So we have to be cautious and we have to be sure about what we are doing whenever we have a person that's just not getting the job done. But the bottom line is that your entire company will value you more as a leader, that they'll buckle down and do a better job when they see that you're not going to be entirely tolerant and accepting of somebody who's not carrying their weight. Because frankly, their self-image is dependent upon, in some way, their ability to do a good job for you. That's right. If I go to work for you, I want to do a good job for you. And I want you to tell me that I'm doing a good job, because my self-image, my sense of safety depends on this knowing that I am doing a great job and I'm appreciated and respected for that. When you allow somebody else on your team to get away with not doing a good job, then you're in essence taking away from the power of everybody on your team who is trying to do a good job. So that person is not just not contributing, they are sucking away the lifeblood. They are taking away from the positive energy from the rest of your company. I know that I have had this experience several times when I hired fast and fired slow, which of course is the opposite of the wisdom mantra that we hear today about hiring slow and firing fast. But when I did the opposite, when I knew somebody was messing up but I didn't address the situation, or I let it go on for too many times, or I gave them 3 chances or 4 chances or 5 chances instead of just 2 or 3 chances, and then finally made the decision that they had to go, the rest of my team, the morale picked up tremendously. They had greater positive energy because I allowed them to step back into that place where they knew that their efforts were rewarded and appreciated, and that they met with my approval, which is something that is in essence, and I didn't realize I was doing it, but I was taking that away from them by tolerating the poor performance of somebody else. So for your company, for your profits, for your own team, do it. And you know what? You're also doing it for that other person too. That person who's not showing up, who has this sense of entitlement, who has this sense of, I'm just going to, see if I can't cheat the system or work the system or see how long I can game this system to stay as long as I can and get as much money as I possibly can by doing as little work as I possibly can and by blaming other people as much as I can. In some way, you are doing them a favor as well, because you are demonstrating to them the consequences of their poor choices and the consequences of their poor attitudes. And hopefully that will be, just one of the lessons that helps them wake up to the opportunity that they have, to get out of their own blame, shame, doubt, energy, and step into a higher consciousness themselves. So thank you for that question. I appreciate that. Stephanie,
Yep.
next question or any comments that you have.
It was a hard lesson for me to recognize that I'm not doing any favors for anybody, and nobody's doing me any favors by continuing in those enabling relationships or situations or environments. We all have our journeys and our lessons to learn, and the faster the faster that we get an opportunity to do so, the faster that we can move on and get out of those unhealthy and toxic situations. So it was very hard for me to recognize that, hey, sometimes I gotta go, you gotta go, somebody's gotta go, so that we can all get in that healthy spot, in that healthy place.
Yep. Somebody's got to go. That's a pretty good mantra. I like it. And because I'm the person in charge, well, it's got to be you. So next question or comment, Stephanie.
My company is just focused on the money, and that's why I want to leave to start my own business, but it is scary. Do I have to start my own business to work in an environment that supports me personally and spiritually?
The answer is no. I mean, you can start your own business and create your own environment that supports you personally and spiritually, but there are good companies out there, and most importantly, what my experience is with very large companies is that the personality of the company really depends on the specific department in which you're working. So you can have 3 or 4 teams of 10 or 12 people seemingly working side by side, and one of them be a positive energy, really wonderful team on which to work, and another one be a very toxic place and a really terrible team on which to work. It really depends on the leader. So if you want to find a positive energy position and not have your own business, then I certainly support you in doing that. And the way that you do that is you talk to the leaders, is that you don't just go to work for a company, but you go to work for a person. And in the old days, that was true every single time, that you always interviewed with your hiring boss, and you could tell the personality of the person that you were interviewing with, in the interview process. And we always encourage people to ask them questions, like, what would you do in this situation? And so you can understand who you're working with. I do recognize, by the way, especially out here in Silicon Valley, is sometimes that's not possible, because oftentimes here they hire just talent, and then they will assign you to a team after you have been hired at the company. You have no idea who your boss is going to be. Which is a strange way of doing things, but that's the way they do it now. They just say, I'm looking for software engineers, and people go in and interview with 3 or 4 people, and if the hiring committee says this person is a good engineer, it's then they decide what team that they're going to work with, and they decide who their technical manager is going to be and who their human resources manager is going to be. It's a different kind of situation. If you find yourself at a company that you're on one of those toxic teams, then I encourage you to think about 2 things. Number one is you may be able to go to HR and request a transfer. Sometimes you have to be on the team that you're at for 6 or 12 months before you're able to request a transfer. But sometimes, you can do it before then. It really depends on the company policies that you have. But at least, have a confidential conversation with somebody in HR and request a confidential conversation, and just say that, hey, I think that I could be on a team that supports me better. What are my opportunities for doing so? So you may be able to find your way to a different team, a more positive team, in the company in which you work, and won't have to actually change companies or start your own business in order to find a more positive environment. And if you can't do that, if it's just not the right time for you to start your own business, if it's not the right time for you to change your company, if it's not the right time for you to change your team within that company, then your only option left is to be as positive as you possibly can every day, to see it as your opportunity to share your love and your light with other people on the team, to you be the force of positive energy, and see if you can't make a difference in the lives of just one person. Find a teammate that you're working with, and get that teammate to work with you to be the most positive people that you can possibly be, and see if you can't turn that negative situation into an opportunity to really focus on your beliefs, on your blessings, on your passion, on your purpose, to see that as an opportunity to increase your positive energy and step into a higher power, being a stronger person yourself, because we all have that opportunity every single day. Sometimes we do it in the context of a wonderful, warm, and loving environment, and other times we do it in the context of an environment that's not so warm and not so loving. With that, we've got just a minute or so after the top of the hour, so I think that's a good place to leave us for today. I want to thank everybody who attended the presentation live, either online or over the telephone, and I want to thank all of you who are listening to this recording. I am a huge believer in the power that every one of us has to work on ourselves a little bit every single day, to become a person of more positive energy, to be a more loving, kind, wise, happy, powerful person every single day. And I know that if you practice your awakening every day, that you'll come to live life in a most wonderful way, as I have. And until we meet again next time, this is Paul Hoyt and Stephanie May wishing you a most marvelous and prosperous day. Bye-bye.